Yeah, we good.
If not, somebody's going to call you and be like, hey.
I'll leave my phone up. Yeah.
They'll be like, hey, you guys just talking to each other.
Yeah. We're just sitting in a room hanging out.
Ready, Coach?
Ready.
Well, welcome aboard, ladies and gentlemen. Just wrapped up player interviews here at Bunkie High School. Sat with 4 seniors for this Panther football team. Ladies and gentlemen, ready for another great season. Now I get to sit with the head man himself, Coach Jimmy Hillman. A couple of alumni champions sitting with you today.
That's it.
But
we're a high class of 11, man. We did it.
There you
Good
go.
job.
But other than that, Coach, I know it's been a busy summer.
Yeah.
And it's been and I know you and your staff have been putting in a lot of work with this group that will represent this program on the field in 2025. Coach, thank you for the opportunity to be here. It's always an honor when I get to pull up to this campus and see the field, see the locker room, see the Grove. The only thing that was different today was there wasn't no smoke coming from the Grove.
It won't be long. They getting ready to load the Grove up.
My goodness, what a place.
Yeah. Thank you for coming, and thank you for what you do and under the lights, man. Every time I get to sit down with y'all, it's a blessing. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for being a great friend. Let's get after it, Coach.
Let's do it. First
First off, 4 seniors.
Yep.
I'm sure you could have picked any of them because they've earned it.
Yep. I thought they did well. All 4 of those guys right there are guys that were sophomores when I first got here.
Yeah.
They all, have been big-time players here on the field in a lot of ways. You know, they talked a lot about Ron and, the legendary play that he made last year and, kind of what they've done. Luke Norman will break the career tackle record at Bunkie High School probably pretty early on in the season next year. Those guys have done a lot, and they represent our program well. Some of the core values that we're about, and it's kind of fun to hear what they got to say, in an interview setting. So it was good to see.
Every year is different. How have you grown as a coach in your time here? Man,
my time here has been great. I think for me, this year, the focus is not necessarily managing the expectation, but trying to prepare this team for what they're hearing, what they're going to continue to hear. When you have the type of success that we've had the last 2 years, complacency and a lot of those things start to sink in. Everyone in the community who's interested and bought into this team, into this program, is asking them, who's gonna replace Kyle, who's gonna replace Dylan, how are y'all gonna do these things, and teaching them how to handle those situations and manage the expectations from a standpoint of the process is the process. It takes what it takes. Doing the things that we do every day is what led to the success, not any one player or any type of talent. A lot of things have to go right to win a game on a Friday night. Controlling the type of things that we can control is what's going to be important for us.
Last year's seniors will never be forgotten. They left their legacy.
Right.
Your thoughts on this year's senior class and what they bring to the table as they carve out their own identity and their team?
I think a lot of guys in this senior class have played a role in the success that we've had. A lot of it, I think, has been overshadowed by some of the stars and some of the guys from that amazing class that we just graduated. What I think you'll see this year is a group of seniors that have been highly productive players that aren't just the product of being around 2 good players. These guys can play, and I think you're gonna see that in a way that you didn't really see last year, because when they step up and make plays, it'll be more needed. And it won't be overshadowed by, the amazing talent that we've had.
You wrap up a district title. You get the 5 seed. Did you believe you should have been higher? Do you credit it to a strong Division III select bracket or just an unexpected down year for your schedule?
I'd say a little bit of a combination. I didn't really expect to be much higher. When you get to the later parts of the year, you kind of know what it's going to shape out like. I do think our division is extremely talented, and not only extremely talented, I think the top 3-4 teams in our division are, world-class type programs that have been really good for a long time.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really good teams in our division that we knew, we're going to be, undefeated 9-1 type teams that would be up there. The schedule, in particular the non-district, maybe didn't go quite the way that we had anticipated. But there's nothing you can really do to control that. And
right.
Every time when you're getting ready to make a schedule, for the next 2 years, you try to keep in mind, what the trajectory of where teams are, and then line them with where you are and what you're trying to be. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But when Louis Cook's Notre Dame team, is an 8 seed, there's a lot of really good teams in your division. So
there you go.
Yeah.
The bye week approach. You've had it twice. Did you do something differently this go around? Are you a fan of the bye, or would you rather keep playing knowing that you got momentum? You're 10-0.
Look, I'm not gonna say I'm not a fan of the bye. When you get in the playoffs, it's survive and advance in whatever way you can. So going to the second round and having that 100% locked up is a blessing. It is a good thing. It's 100% a good thing to get a bye. There are some good and bad with it. We did attack it differently. I like the way that we went about it. I feel like we stayed more in line with our game week and our preparation. We had a lot of contact during our bye week. Was good for some players, was not good for some others. So it's kind of a fine line. I think what really it's going to take in a bye week situation, you got to have a really mature team that's been there, done that. I think we could have handled this year's bye several different ways, but because of the maturity of the team that we had and had been in that situation before, that we would be all right whenever we got to that second round game.
Okay. Round 2, Coach. The Grove. Ultimate 12th man, I'm going to call him. Team played with their hair on fire that night. Talk to me about what a night like that meant.
They were so hungry to prove themselves, and we'd heard it all for a year, going 9-1, getting a bye, losing to Episcopal, my first year here. We listened to that for a year, man, and those guys had it marked on their calendar. We knew we were going to get back to that type of a game, and to do it at home, to do it in front of our fans, against a program like A-Meet that has accomplished everything we want to accomplish, in the last 15 years. We went back, when we get into our opponents, we kind of, especially with the playoffs, we kind of look at their program and what they've done. When you put their last 20 years on paper, that's a program that you're like, man, it doesn't matter what they have this year or don't have or whatever, man, this is the type of program that you want to compete with. So to do it on that stage against somebody like that, who's accomplished so much, was huge for that team, but for us as a program, to show, our guys that are on the team, the guys that are returning, people in the community, that, these things are possible, for a small town like Bunkie.
You punch your ticket to Turkey Week.
Yeah.
Quarterfinals, it's got to be one of those nights you'll never forget.
Absolutely.
What did it mean to spend Thanksgiving week with your team and the night, the win?
So I've done it twice as a coach prior to this year. My first year coaching high school football as an assistant at Marksville, we did it. At the time, I just thought that's what you did. I was like, yeah, you're this good. You play in the quarterfinals. It was great. It took me another 6 years to be able to do it, and it was during the COVID year when things kind of got pushed back, so Thanksgiving week came a little earlier. So, but to make it to the quarterfinals, I knew how special it was from when I did it in 2016. How hard it is. It took me, for a full season to season, it took me 9 years to do it again. So I knew the opportunity that it was, and to spend it with the guys, to get them in here in some great football weather and practice and scout and know that you're one of the only few teams that are doing it. It's a blessing, and our guys loved it. The community really came around us, and we had a good Thanksgiving breakfast, and it was a great deal.
The game, we talk about one of those nights you'll never forget, the community will never forget, and those players that shared the field, a night they'll never forget because what happened that night. I mean, that's what you see in movies.
Yeah, no, it was epic, man. It was every bit as cold as what those kids said. The Hole, as they call it at Jules Sumner, is a great stadium. It was a great atmosphere. It was absolutely freezing. We finished the first half. I remember going back into the gym at halftime, and it was 7:42. So the game was flying by. We knew coming out, that was our first time down all year at half. We knew coming out that we may only get the ball 3 more times, And so to see those guys go to work, to see, the reverse to Kyle for the touchdown was a play that we installed in week 1 that we never ran, but we practiced it every week.
Yeah.
To see Ron Patterson, he gave up a completion on a similar play early in the game. We get under the tent, and he looks our DB coach in the face and says, if they do it again, I'm taking it to the house. In that moment, to get down there, to not have a block in the back, to not have kids run on the side. I mean, just all the things that you look at that have to go right for those things to happen, they all did. And then Jules Sumner, with down by 8, drives the ball down and puts it in the end zone, with 30 seconds left. And now we got a 2-point conversion to win the game for us. We pride ourselves on our defense, and those guys get told all year long from me and from our staff that they're going to win and lose the game and how they perform. And to see everybody do their job and string the ball to the edge, Kyle Johnson come down and make a tackle, to send us to the semis. It was a storybook type game. I'm real proud to been a part of it.
Should have been there.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, it was a good one.
Made for a fun, warm bus ride home.
Yeah, it was good, and we were on the charter bus, so yeah, it was a good ride back.
So we do go to the semifinals. We do play a talented Dunham ball club. Your biggest takeaways from the night, and also how was the lead up to that game? When we go preparation leading up to that game, you felt like you had a good game plan tonight?
I felt like we had a good game plan. We did experience a little bit of adversity that week. I thought the kids handled it well. We had a good game plan. For anybody that doesn't know by this point, Elijah Haven is a really good player.
Yeah.
I mean, he's good at football. They had a great team. They had a great staff. I think the way that we played and performed in the first half, and to be up 1 at halftime, I think we kind of gave them, a little bit of a shock. But look, that's a great team, great program. With not only, that's one that's kind of similar to us in terms of, a lot of the players on that team get overshadowed by how good Elijah is. Number 7, Trevor Hammond, is one of the best players in the state, in my opinion. He's a phenomenal player, and he gave us problems all night on both sides of the ball. So they had a really good team. I talked with a lot of coaches. That was my first time ever being in the semis. We were 24 minutes away from making it to the big dance. I talked to a lot of coaches the week after. And one in particular told me, one of the hardest parts is getting there. Once you get into those situations, it almost becomes easier to get back to because your kids know what it takes.
Yeah.
So it does give me a lot of hope that we were able to accomplish that for the future here, and knowing that these guys have experienced it and knows and have been in situations and knows what it takes to get back.
How soon did you get back to work, knowing that you got guys off to other sports?
Me, the next day.
The next day.
Yeah, I didn't stop. So that was a hard film to watch. It was a hard film to break down because I knew what was at stake. We got into our off-season process pretty early. Of course, going into December, there was only a couple weeks left in school, so we kind of wrapped up a lot of things in-house. sent them home for Christmas break, and then when they got back to school in January, I mean, we hit the ground running. Of course, you had some guys in other sports and stuff like that, so we're kind of a little bit separated in the springtime, but a lot of our core group stayed together, and we got right back to work because we knew, that's what we did the year before. I mean, that's what it takes to do it, and there's no shortcuts around it, so we got right back to work.
As we wrap up the summer and we go into the first week of fall practice, you look back, did this group win the summer?
Yes, absolutely. Our attendance was phenomenal. Like most coaches, we have a system in terms of how many days they're required to make, how many days they're allowed to miss. If they have excess misses, there's certain punishments that come with it, ultimately leading into game suspensions and players being removed from the team. I can tell you right now, we had 72 guys here throughout the summer. Not one of them is going to serve any type of game suspension. Those guys were here. They're working. They're hungry. And I think it's a testament to what we've built here. Them seeing that the proof is kind of in the pudding and understanding that, look, we got to go to work and this is what's required. It's not a matter of Nick Saban says it really good. Players think they have a lot of choices in what they do. But there's really not a lot of choices. If you want to be great, it takes what it takes.
Almost missed out on a spring game. Found your way in last minute.
Yep.
Northside, Mamu, got to go to battle with those guys.
Yep.
What did you learn from your group that day?
I learned that we have some resilient guys, especially defensively. We got down to the goal line portion type period of the scrimmage. It became sort of a king of the hill type deal because there was three of us. And if you got to stop, you got the ball. And our guys bowed their neck down there 3 times and didn't give up a touchdown, even on a 4th and 2 play. So it was great to see that. Knowing the way, in my opinion, most football teams work, your defense is really going to have to carry you early on in the year while your offense starts to click. We are replacing some key guys offensively, obviously a quarterback and some good offensive linemen. So I know that what we're going to need to be defensively, especially early. So to see them do it, and to see some new guys do it that haven't really been in that spot before, but lived up to the expectation of what it takes to play here. It was really good to see. So, and very grateful for Mamu and Northside for even allowing us to be in there. Yeah. So it was a great deal. It was a great deal for us.
The biggest emphasis this summer, what was it?
Our team motto all year has been "Prove it," and we've been preaching that a lot. What's going to be important for us is we want to prove that we didn't have lightning in the bottle. It wasn't a good class. It wasn't just because of certain players. Like we feel like we've built a program that can compete at a state level year in and year out. And that's what we believe. And the reality is, because of being in a small rural town, because of the way past seasons have gone in our recent history, that's something that we believe. That's not something that everyone in the state believes. And it's our job to prove that it is. So we're not really. We set goals. We have things that we track certain statistics that we feel like are important to winning. Those are goals, things that we keep track of. But we're not winning a district championship tomorrow. We're not going to the Dome tomorrow. There's a process to it. So we want to prove what we're about every single day. And when an opponent rolls up and we strap it up with them, we want to prove what we're about to those guys.
Upcoming scrimmage against Oakdale. As from the spring game to the scrimmage, where do you want to be?
Well, you want to see improvement. I want to see us. I feel like we executed at a pretty high level offensively in the spring game. I'd like to see us control the line of scrimmage a little bit better. We have some new guys up there. I'd like to see us really play well up front on that side of the ball. Defensively, it's going to be about finding the right guys. We still got some really good competition in some spots. Finding the right 11 that believe in our mission, that believe in the way that we want to play, and getting them on the field and seeing them do it when they have to do it. That's what's going to be important. we got some guys back. We held a couple guys out during the springtime due to some lingering injuries, so we'll be a little more healthy come that time. So get our units out there and get too deep and let them go out there and play and show us what they can do.
Jamboree will be hosted which stadium this year?
It'll be out of Voiles this year.
Voiles hosts the Parish Jamboree.
Yes, sir.
So Voiles, Marksville, Bunkie.
Yep.
So you'll have that also, and then you'll see them in the regular season also.
Both of them. Yep. Week 3 and week 10. So yeah.
What's the biggest challenge your schedule brings? Is it knowing that you might see some teams that are a little bit older? Or is there something else that really sticks out?
No, I think looking at the non-district schedule, there's obviously some teams that stand out in terms of knowing what they return, knowing that they played some younger guys that were in the same position we were in a few years ago. So I do expect them to be improved. I think St. Mary's in week 1. Central Catholic in week 4. I think those are going to be 2 really big teams for us. And then Winfield in week 5 has a new head coach. You never really know what you're going to see. So that building up into our district, and then our district returns some key players and some key teams. Gina and Marksville in particular have some big time players coming back. So, and those are by this point, those are pretty highly emotional games for our kids and their kids. So. When you start getting the emotions of the game involved, it can change a lot of things as well.
You feel like Division III Select could be wide open again?
Yes, I do, because of the programs that are in it. Not necessarily just the teams that are in it, but the programs that are in it, the type of success that they've had. There's 10 that come to mind, that have been, state title type teams, in the last decade. So I do think it's wide open. I think there's obviously a couple of front runners that return a lot and are going to be really good. Dunham is one of those. I know Catholic Norbury has a lot of star power back as well. But really and truly, it's anybody's game, especially when you get down to the last 8, the last 4, the last 2. There's a lot of things that got to go right for your team to be in those situations. So teams that are slated to be really good right now could, have injuries, have bad games, have things like that can change that.
At this time, if you would like to introduce your 2025 coaching staff.
Yeah, so we return our entire staff with the exception of one. So Coach Dylan West coaches our defensive line. Coach Gabe Biard will coach our offensive line. Coach Jamel Juno is an alumni. He coaches our DBs. Coach Rob Robinson, who's hopefully having a baby right now.
Wow.
They are at the hospital. Coach Rob may or may not be watching, but we're praying for you, and hopefully we got a fourth baby boy by tomorrow morning at the latest for him.
Just in time for the season.
Just in time. He coaches our running backs. And then Coach Jordan Jackson, coaches our wide receivers. Dr. John Fletcher has been helping us a lot over the last probably 2 decades here at Bunkie. So he helps with our offensive line. We'll have all those guys back.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Practice field. You're more of a high-intensity reps type of guy or longer teaching periods?
We're getting reps, especially this time of the year when it's hot. One thing we talk about as a staff, we want to do a lot of our teaching inside and get a lot of reps at it outside. So I've sort of adopted a new style of practice in the springtime from some other programs. I thought it went well. Our practices are fast. Guys are flying around. The first hour of it is nonstop. Then we get into some of our special teams and our team periods. So, but I don't like to do a lot of teaching when their brains are 110 degrees. You don't retain a lot of that. So we try to do a lot of our teaching inside, get a lot of the work done when we go outside.
Do you build your scheme around your players or make players fit your system?
And I'm adamant about this, you have to build your scheme around your players.
Okay.
We have key philosophies offensively and defensively that are part of our program that we put a lot of value in. But it does not mean a certain personnel. It does not mean a certain offense, certain defense. To me, it just makes too much sense. Find your best guys and put them in a position that's best for them. So what that looks like year in and year out from a formation standpoint may look differently. philosophies and keys that we feel like these things, if we can accomplish these things, we can win games. Those things stay the same.
Well, how do you avoid over-adjusting and just stick to your identity on a Friday night?
Look, offensively, and I've been calling plays for 9 years now, there is a level of patience that comes with it. There's a fine line between patience and being hard-headed. So you have to know when to adjust. You got to have a couple of wrinkles. With film these days, man, everybody's so prepared. So you got to have a couple of things that they're not ready for in your back pocket. Your kids have to understand, what they need to accomplish to be successful. Obviously, you want to get first downs. You want to make plays. You want to limit penalties. I mean, everybody's doing those things, but we want to have some keys going into the game. Hey, look, these are areas of focus. Focus on these things, control these things, and then let everything else kind of take care of itself. Offensively, defensively, we have to be the team that punches first. We can't sit back and wait and see what the other team's about. If I can have it my way on every coin toss, we're going to get the ball. We're going to hopefully, go down and score. But we're going to get out there and we're going to throw some punches with them offensively. And when we kick off in the third quarter, our defense is going on the field and they're going to set the tone for the second half. I mean, that's the identity of who we are and what we want to do. So defensively for me is 100% about what 11 guys need to be out there. And then now we have these 11, what's the best way to make them, have the tools to be successful? Yeah. Because you can coach it up all day long. Man, them kids got to get out there and they got to go play against 11 other kids. Man, there's only so much you can do adjustment-wise and things like that. The kids got to be able to trust what they see and go make plays. So whatever the simplest form of that is what I like to do defensively.
How much freedom does your players have to make adjustments on the field?
It depends on who the player is and the level of trust that I have in them based on what I see out of them daily. Up front on the offensive line in particular, we're given tools. This is how we want to block this play. This is what we want to do. These are your rules, but here are some tools that can help based on what y'all see on the field. And having a guy like Don Palermo, who's been starting for 3 years, that's a guy that has a lot of freedom that based on what he sees and what he feels up front, can make some changes into how we're going to block something. Defensively, we scout our matchups. We play a lot of man coverage. We scout our matchups, but if Ron Patterson feels like he knows, the ball's going to a certain place and he's going to get that guy, he's got the freedom to do that. So it's gotta be your system and your game plan because you're the adult, you make the decisions, but the kids got to feel ownership in it too. And when they feel ownership in it, then it's important to them.
How do you prepare your team if someone throws something unexpected at you?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of punches to a fist fight. We're gonna get hit. We're gonna get some things thrown our way that we weren't ready for. The type of character that we have, will be shown after that. So you just got to make adjustments and move on.
Your ideal tempo of a game?
Whichever one leads to us having the higher number on the scoreboard at the end of it.
There it is. Approach at halftime. You're a tactical changes type of guy, emotional reset type of guy. What do you like to do at halftime?
Emotional reset. I want them to understand that when we come back out, we've got to be able to capture some of the things that we had in the beginning and play with a lot of energy. I'm not we can't change everything at halftime. Yeah. Let's find one or two things that we can adjust to. But the other team's making adjustments too, so then you're adjusting to their adjustment. You never really know. So find a couple of things that you can tweak and get your guys back out there.
What separates a good team from a great one in those final minutes?
Leadership. You got to have leaders on the field that can rally the troops, can get each other together, whether it's for a important third down, whether it's for a stop on defense. The guys they got to go out there and they got to believe in each other, and that starts with having a great leader. And on the best teams, there's multiple guys out there that they feel trust in, that they trust the guy next to them, and can lead you through those tight spots.
Coach, what does a prepared team look like beyond just knowing what the plays are on a Friday night?
It starts that week at practice. You got to be able to execute. Offensively, we want to, focus on the little details of, from our alignment to our steps to, our completion percentage, third down, understanding things that we want to get into, understanding the, obviously the base scheme, but, little tendencies that we can pick up on. You got to have a good week of practice to win a game on Friday. It's possible without it, but you need a good week. And to me, that's one of the better things about this game. I mean, just because you're more talented doesn't mean you're going to win the game. You've got to be the more prepared team, and that's something that you can control.
Do you believe your players understand the why behind the X's and O's now?
I do. I do. I think we've got some guys that are bought into our mission and understand what it's going to take for our team to be successful, what that looks like, and for some of the guys it means sacrifice. For some of the guys it means playing a position that maybe they weren't planning on playing, but that's what it takes to win, and that's what it takes to be a team.
How rewarding is it when it clicks for a player on a Friday night?
It's fun, man. It's so fun to watch kids succeed, and to watch something, whether it's a coaching point or a technique or a play, but to watch something that a kid's been working hard at and then it shows up on the field, and because of the work they've been doing, they're able to succeed in that moment. It's rewarding as a coach. It's great to see for young kids because as adults, we know what that means for their life moving forward. That when they get in life, those things are going to happen. The amount of work that you put into it is what you're going to get out of it, and so to see it be successful on a Friday is huge.
You guys, this past weekend, I believe it was, went to First Baptist as a group. Talk to me about that day.
That's a me thing. I'm never going to put a kid in a uncomfortable situation, but I'm going to talk to these kids about Jesus Christ every day.
Yeah.
And let them know that there's something a lot bigger than what we're just doing here. And winning games is fun, and I've been a part of a lot of winning. I've been a part of a lot of losing. The winning is absolutely more fun, but what we're doing here is bigger than that. And so to see those guys come out, that's never something that I'm going to make mandatory. That's something that we're going to try to do as a team, several times a year. And see those guys come out and spend their time, at church on Sunday means you're doing something right.
Are you a big believer in multi-sport athletes?
Absolutely. Man, I think there's a lot of talk about specializing and the benefits of focusing on one thing, and some of it's true, some of it's mathematical. I mean, the more reps you get at something, the better you're going to be at it. So I understand all that. I think, in my opinion, the best players I've ever coached were kids that love to be on a team, love to compete, love to be around the guys. Those are your best players. And playing multiple sports puts kids in positions to be competitive, and the most competitive guy 9 times out of 10 is going to win the battle.
Your offensive line went down to Lake Charles and competed in the Southwest Louisiana Lineman Camp. Came back as a challenge winner.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how proud of you of that group.
It's great because the guys up front, especially on the offensive line, the defensive line, you can get your name in the paper. You can go make a big play and you can get out there.
Yeah.
You can actually see the ball. 4 of the 5 guys that play offense, they don't know if there's a ball there or not. It doesn't matter to them. So to see them go and bond together and sacrifice together for the common goal is what they do all year long. So to get those guys down there and put them in a position to compete and showcase themselves, it's a great thing for a group that spends a lot of their time sacrifices for somebody else.
You said competition breeds excellence. Oftentimes the mats come out. I mean, you have the lift-a-thon. You have other little things that really breed competition here at Bunkie. Talk to me about that statement.
You can't expect a kid to be hyper-competitive in the biggest moment of his life under the lights with everybody watching if you don't put him in competitive situations throughout the year. There has to be a winner and loser in everything that you do, and a lot of times that's competing against ourselves, and so there's a team aspect that comes into that. But at the end of the day, if you want your kid to do it when the lights are bright, you've got to put them in situations when no one's watching to be hyper competitive and to teach someone how to be competitive. I don't believe that's something that they either have or they don't have. I think you can teach that. I think you can mold that. Obviously, there's some that are born with it that get it even more, but being competitive, being physical, being mentally tough, like that's things that are coachable. You can produce that, but you can't produce it with words. It's got to be with actions.
Talk to me about any new upgrades or fundraisers that's going on or wrapped up, and the Booster Club here if there's one.
Yeah, our Panther Club, we've got a few things going on. We'll start selling our discount cards tomorrow. That's always a big one for us. Okay. Our community, we have 15 businesses on there. They are all local Bowles Parish businesses. Our Booster Club puts that together. We'll start selling those next week. Tomorrow we start that. Upgrades, we got ourselves a turf tank to paint our practice field and paint our game field. That's been phenomenal.
Now, how cool is that little thing?
It's as the coach that comes here on Sunday and used to pull lines and spray paint and all that. It's amazing. I get out here on Sunday, I set it up, especially while it's 110 degrees, and the little robot's out there working, and I'll come in my office in the AC and do some work on the computer and go out there and clean it when it's done. So that's been huge, and that's something that we use. Like a lot of programs around the state, we're self-sufficient. Our school board, helps with athletic projects when they can, but it's nothing that's guaranteed. We have to make our own budget, and that's something that we built into our budget and we're able to do. We got us a drone that we use at practice now for filming practice. That's been a huge help. Shout out to Coach Charles and Pineville High School. They came over here and he showed me theirs, and I got the information from him, and it really was kind of a cheap option. That I thought it was gonna be a lot worse. Been using that. That's been a huge tool for us. We got the Huddle Focus camera on the stadium, so we'll be able to start live streaming all of our home games now. Through that camera. So yeah, we've got a few things that have been upgraded. Might have one or two things left up my sleeve, but that's for a later date.
Let's go to your quarterback. You lose Dylan, and now you have to go and fresh into a new season.
Yep.
Got a guy.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about him, and let's talk about what you've seen from him in this off season.
Sophomore Austin Fitzgerald is going to be our quarterback. Is our quarterback right now moving forward. Brady Wright, as a senior, has come in and played in spots for us. As a varsity quarterback, he's definitely a guy that we feel confident in as well. They've had good competition since the spring.
Okay.
Austin is a guy who is hyper competitive, who is a multi-sport athlete that is a great baseball player for us. Played basketball when he was in junior high. Is a competitive kid. He's a guy that we feel like can function at a high level. Dylan Compton is a guy that's hard to replace. We're not looking for the next Dylan Compton. Austin's job is to be as efficient as Dylan was, and that's what we want to see out of him. Especially as a young guy, we've seen it from him in spurts as a junior high quarterback and a JV quarterback, but now moving into a varsity role. The efficiency is something that's going to be important with him as he learns.
Your running back position, coach. You got a bulldozer.
Yeah.
But I'm sure if it was his choice, he would take the full load. But they have some guys that's going to be able to give him some blows every now and then. Talk to me about the depth at that position.
Yeah, we got a good little room, and I think our players highlighted that well earlier. Zion Lee is going to be featured. He's a phenomenal player, a phenomenal kid. He's got a few Division I offers from the Naval Academy, Army, Air Force, and Northwestern. He's got a bright future ahead of him. Couldn't be a better kid, a guy that works as hard as he does. He's going to be featured for sure. He gets a lot of attention, but the guys around him, and I think Jatarin's been a guy since I've been here, who is the speed guy, who's kind of the change of pace back, and is absolutely 100% one of the strongest kids on our team, pound for pound, if not the strongest. Okay. The kid can absolutely play. He's going to play some defense for us and help us up front some early in the year, but he's a guy that we feel very confident in running the football. And then, like they said earlier, our freshman Keyshawn Watson was our junior high tailback last year. Is a guy that showed a lot of promise in the springtime. We threw him in there against Mamu in the spring game, and he creased one for 80 yards, against their ones, So he's a guy that we feel confident in to come in and play for us as well.
The receiver room. You got a couple returning.
Yep.
And you have some guys that got to step up. Mm-hmm. What have you seen from that group through all the 7-on-7s and here in fall practice?
We've seen a lot of good things from that group in spurts. I'll say publicly, and they know this from our talks, I expect more out of them because of the experience that comes back in that room, the playmaking. Ron, Kane, and AJ are guys that all started for us as sophomores. When they were sophomores, it was their job to do their job, and they were other leaders on the team. Now those guys are leaders on this team. We had some struggles 7-on-7 wise, at times against some good competition. And the key for them is, we're going to need them, especially with a young quarterback, we're going to need them to be everything that they were at the end of last year and then some right from the jump. While this offense is kind of developing, we're going to lean on them. And those are three guys right there that are absolutely capable of. Jeffrey Rushing is a guy that has developed through our system. When I got here, it was important for me to kind of vertically align our junior high, our JV, and our varsity. Jeffrey's a product of that. He was a great junior high receiver for us. Had a good season last year in JV, is now kind of moving into a new role. Same thing with Caden Dobbins, a guy that has a ton of potential that we know can help us offensively and defensively.
Going to the offensive line, some pieces to replace there. Talk to me about that group in a whole. I'll ask the guys, I'm going to ask yourself, was it more mental? Was it more strength? Was it more technical? Or was it a little bit of all of the above?
It's a little bit of all of it, as it is with any position, but the physicalness of it, just the nature of the position is what we're kind of stressing the most. We returned to Don Palermo at our left guard. Ethan Smith played center for us last year. He'll slide out and play tackle for us now. Graham Newton will be a junior. He played in some spots last year for us, so we feel confident about him. And then two guys that were JV players last year for us, and Madden Sauceda and Treshawn Laurent, are guys that we expect a lot of. Our offensive line unit as a whole is deeper than it's been since I've been here. We've got some phenomenal freshmen that we are very excited about that, we hope we have time to develop and not throw directly into the fire, but some, that may be ready to be thrown into the fire. So we've got some great competition in that room, some guys that are really working hard, and I think they're going to be in good shape.
So on the other side of the football, your defensive side, how's those conversations been like here in the locker room with the defensive staff? What are they seeing? What have you noticed, and what should we expect?
Yeah, they know that we know we've got some guys that have to step up. We know we have some just cornerstones to our position, to our defense, with Luke Norman, Lucas Mose, Ron Patterson, those guys, Brady Wright, guys that we feel very confident in. They're in some key positions for us defensively. It's going to be their job to, as we continue to mix personnel and find new guys to come in and play, to get those guys caught up to game speed early on. But for me, defensively, man, it's about reps are important. Film study is really important for that. A quarterback has to be the most prepared player on the field. It's just the nature of the position. Austin's a guy that's gonna show up early. He's gonna stay after. He stayed after today in the 110-degree heat and was throwing with receivers. So he's gonna put the work in. What's important for us as a team is we don't need him to do it all early on. We want to be able to play well around him, play solid defense around him, run the football, and give him time to develop. But he's a smart kid. He's got a great arm, real quick trigger. So I think he's gonna do well in this scheme.
How often do you use motion, and what does it help you diagnose?
We use it a good bit. The obvious things are, it's a man zone indicator. In terms of coverage standpoint. Is it a way that we can out-formation teams? If we line up this way and then shift this way, how will they react? In my opinion, it's something that can that can make your offense look a lot more complicated without really adding much to you offensively. Gives the defense, once you start moving those guys around from their original alignment, kind of changes their responsibilities, and maybe able to find something that can benefit you later on.
How important is it for your offensive line to be disciplined and smart, not just physical?
It's important. We got to stay away from penalties, especially early down penalties. Stay in front of the chains. They're a huge part of that. But I've got to be able to dial that guy back, not have to get him going. Is a way that we look at it. So I want 5 guys that are going to play as hard as they possibly can with their hair on fire through the echo of the whistle. If we start getting in trouble with it, then we'll dial it back as we need to. But they got to be dogs up there. I mean, they got to be hungry, and they got to be some physical guys.
Live and die by cover zero?
Live and die by cover zero. Yeah. Nah, that's how I feel. That's how our team feels.
You got some guys that can play it, though.
And you go play Elijah Haven, and you die by it, and you shake his hand after the game, and it is what it is. But playing cover zero not only gives our guys very clear objectives of what they need to do, it frees up our guys up front to play really fast and get to the quarterback. To me, it just sets a mentality for your team more than anything. I don't think even most of the coaches on Dunham's staff believe that we would go over there and play cover zero against a quarterback like that, and we did. Because it's who we are. Now, did it work out at the end? No, it didn't. But it's who we are. It's what we're about. I think it's a philosophy that bleeds past just their position group.
Describe an unsung hero and who could take on that role this year.
Man, we've got a few. Austin's definitely one, obviously, as a quarterback. I've really liked, and they'll laugh at me because I really don't like this position, but our kicker, Patrick Lemoyne, has made some incredible strides this offseason. He's worked his tail off. He's starting to become one of those special teams weapons that we feel like we can use in certain spots. I do not like kicking the ball in any aspect, even after a touchdown, but it is part of the game. It's something that we've got to be good at, and he's a guy that's been doing really well for us.
What's the difference in a team who works hard every day and a team that competes every day?
It's when things are going the wrong way, when things are hard, and on a Friday night that you run into that a lot. A team that's competitive is going to find a way to win the game. A team that only works hard but isn't very competitive, is going to struggle in those times.
How do you get your players to understand not just what to do, but why they are doing it?
You got to. I mean, that's an off-season thing, man. You got to believe in the mission of what we're here to do, and to play the game the way we see it to be played. That's a full year in buy-in. That's something that you've got to talk about all the time. You've got to replicate it as much as you can when the pads aren't on. But that's a total buy-in thing that bleeds into wins and losses.
What small details in preparation make a big difference on a Friday night?
Your support staff around you at school. From the moment a visiting team shows up, from the moment a fan shows up to that gate, when somebody goes to the concession stand, when somebody needs to get into a gate that's locked, there's so many things that go on a Friday. For me as the coach and our staff that we're so focused into, to have a support system, an administration that's really behind you, that understands a home football game on a Friday night will have more people at it than any other school event, outside of maybe graduation for the rest of the year. So it's a total staff buy-in to make those productions run.
What will success look like for this team beyond wins and losses?
When a team puts us on their TV, when they put film on us, when they leave our game, what are they saying about the way they feel after they play us? That's what's important to me. We want to be physical in every aspect of the game. I want people to turn on the film and see that we're a physical team. I want parents to watch us play against their kids and not feel too good about it. That's how I want to play the game. That's how our guys want to play the game. So that has nothing to do with winning and losing in terms of the score, but to me it has everything to do with winning and losing in terms of how you get your kids to play.
The most difficult thing to overcome in a season, what is it?
Injury is for sure a hard part of it. The nature of the game we played, every team's going to run into it. It's just a matter of how much and how you overcome those situations mentally, not just physically. You replace a player and you put someone else, but mentally what it does to the team, those things are important.
Give me a position group that you still have eyes on that needs to take that extra leap.
Our defensive line is a group that we've got probably six that I feel pretty strong about that we'll all see some reps early on.
What are you doing at the youth or feeder level to build the future here?
Well, so we're 7th through 12th. So we run three teams here, junior high, JV, and varsity. Myself and some of our staff and some other people run our junior high program. That's a huge component for me, and I think we're starting to get to the point now where we're seeing it, where and Austin Fitzgerald, who was a 7th grader when I got here, is a guy that's been through our system, learned under me, learned how we want to play, and is now moving into a position on Friday night, like many of the other sophomores and freshmen that are there as well. So that's important. Our defensive back coach, Coach Jamel Juno, runs the flag football league here in Bulls Parish and does an absolutely phenomenal job with it. And starts the teaching process of just football in general for all the kids in the parish, not just the ones that come to Bunkie, but for everybody. What football's about at a young age, and my kids play in it, and it's a great thing. So,
your biggest question mark going into the season, what is it?
How well are we going to be able to handle the outside noise?
Yeah.
We're going to hear it. We're going to hear it early on. We're going to hear it the first time that we're down at halftime. We're going to hear it the first time we give up a touchdown. We're going to, everybody, and I love the people in the Grove, but we're going to hear it from back there about what's going on and how well can we block that out and focus on what we need to do.
Your favorite part of a Friday night, before, during, or after?
After the game, win or lose, my kids running up, my wife running up and hugging them and all that. That's what's special to me.
The Grove. Talk to me about that special place.
It's unlike anything I've ever been a part of. It's special. They got some crazy people out there. There's probably about 10 people that I can think off the top of my hand that if I told them they could be back there at noon on a Friday, they'd be there. So they lined up at that gate waiting for 4 o'clock to come in. There'll be cars wrapped around the school waiting to get into the Grove. And then just the way they support those kids, though, is what's special to me.
Yeah.
It's a great environment. It's a great place for them to get back there and cook and fellowship and all that. But the way they support those kids when we do our Grove walk and on our way in for pregame and seeing all the young kids, parents, grandparents, everybody back there, it's a special place.
How important is it that your players know that you see them as people, not just athletes?
To me, I think it just validates what you want them to do. If they know that you really care about who they are, not just what they can do on the field for you, you'll get so much more out of them. And that just comes from building relationships with them all year long.
We might have touched on this earlier, but I'm going to ask you again. What are your core principles on offense and defense in your style?
Offensively and defensively, we want to be the more physical team. That's going to start every single week. We preach that all the time. We've got to be the team that punches first. We can't sit back and fill a team out. We want to be the aggressors. Offensively, we've got to execute at a high level. Whatever form that looks, I'm game. Whatever moves the ball down the field most effectively is what I'm ready for. Obviously, when we make big plays, it makes me look real smart as a play caller that we were able to do it. But we want to be efficient. And defensively, we've got to fly the ball. We've got to know our assignment, and we can't back down from who a team is or who they have, because of the style of defense we play. We've got to be on the attack.
What do you emphasize most during weekly preparation?
Early in the year, it's a lot about hydration, taking care of your body, being ready to play 48 minutes of football, being ready to be in those situations when it's hot. As the season progresses, understanding the way we have to practice against each other needs to be physical without being stupid.
Yeah.
There's always a fine line there. But focusing on the details and focusing on the things that we can control, man. Every day that we're out there working, the other team's out there working too. So we've got to understand that teams are going to do things that are going to be effective towards us, and how do we react in those situations?
What role have your upper class or returning starters played in setting the tone for the season?
I think the leadership I've seen out of them has grown out of need, has grown out of guys understanding how close we are to that ultimate goal. And ultimately a group of guys that's hungry for the opportunity to show that, yes, we lost some good players, but we're a good team. They're good players too, and we're ready to run this back again.
Coach, what lessons do you hope your players carry with them long after the pads come off?
The lessons of the details that we preach every day. We talked about, the guys talked about the weight room. They're only allowed to wear white or black socks. They can't wear earrings. They can't sit down. Things that have nothing to do with winning a game, but has everything to do with the way that kid reacts, in situations in the game. Because if you can focus on the little details, when the big picture's right in front of your face, you can be focused on a lot of things. And in life, just understanding, man, that this game's going to end, but the relationships that they build with each other, with themselves, what they learn about themselves, overcoming adversity, that's the things that they'll deal with forever.
Yeah. Is there a moment in your career where you can recall why you do this?
Man, too many. I just know what football's done for me, and the opportunity to come here every day and try to give that back to another group of kids, man, is what's special to me, man. I wouldn't be here without football, and I love sports, and I played basketball in high school, and I played, ran track, and did a lot of things, and but there's something about the game of football that's just different. So the opportunity to get here and to give these kids, everything that I feel like football gave me every day, that's what it's all about.
What are you most excited for this year? What are you most proud of from this year's group?
What I'm most excited about, just week 1 kickoff, man. I'm ready to get this thing rolling. And I'm also excited for that first cold front to come through. That's going to be a lot of fun, letting this thing cool off a little bit from the sizzle we're in. Most proud of this group, man. Just I believe that this group is going to face some adversity that they haven't faced, in the last couple of years. And I think we're made up of the right stuff to be able to handle it.
Okay.
So I'm excited for them to be able to showcase that.
What is your message to the alumni, to the community, as we gear up for 2025?
Man, just continue to show up and support these young men, support this program the way that y'all do so well. This program is first class in a lot of ways, and a lot of it's because of this community and the way that they support us. Financially, but just by being here, man. It means something to a high school kid to play in front of 1,000 people. It's huge, and there's a lot of places that aren't like that. So we're extremely blessed that we have a community that supports us.
Close us out today with the quote of the day.
Quote of the day, man. Just we got to stay true to the process, man. It takes what it takes to be successful. There's no shortcuts around it, and winners want to be around winners. So we're trying to do everything we can to be winners every day.
There you go.
That's
Coach,
it.
Final words.
Hey, go Panthers. We excited for another year, ready for it to get here. Thank you to Under the Lights. Thank you to what y'all do every week, man. I'm always tuned in every chance I can, but to y'all and putting these high schools and these kids in these positions, man, it's a blessing.
I'll fight for them Panthers on Wednesday nights.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's right.
Coach, we done it again.
Yep. Good deal, brother.
It was an honor. Football right here from Panther Field.
Gene Britton Stadium.
Yep, messed that one up.
Gene
And
Britton
you know
Stadium.
I have to say it every time during the broadcast.
Mm-hmm. Coach Gene Britton Stadium.
Gene Britton Stadium. Your first glimpse will be right here at Gene Britton Stadium.
That's right.
Against Oakdale on the 21st.
Yes, sir.
Going to be a physical ball game there.
Yeah, no, it's going to be good. We're excited about it.
And then Jamboree following week will be at Avoyles, Marksville, Bunkie, 3-parish Jamboree like normal. And then week 1, knocking on the door.
It's right here. About 30-something days away.
Be here before we know it. And it's a home opener.
This
place is going to be wild.
It's going to be buzzing for sure.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, watching a little Panther football, talking to the head man. It's been an honor. We'll sign off for now. Coach, we'll see you in the fall.
Yes, sir. Thank you.